I want to talk to you about components in Unreal Engine, and specifically about actor components. There's two types of components in Unreal Engine. There's scene components and there's actor components. Scene components are a topic for an entirely different day, because those are fairly intuitive. Actor components are something that I see most people actually kind of skipping over when they first get into Unreal Engine. Now, if you are a Unity user, you actually have a bit of a lag up here, because you already understand actor components, because actor components are essentially just what you're used to as being scripts. So if we here in the third-person blueprint character, we have a couple of components here, which is a capsule component, an arrow component, a mesh component, a camera boom, and a follow camera. All of these are scene components. They have a physical place in the world. They have transform data over here. A lot of them get actually rendered, things like meshes, but also it contains things like colliders, all that kind of stuff. Things that are physically present somewhere in the world. But any component that is not physically in the world and only contains stuff like logic and values are actor components. And the character movement component is such a component. It doesn't exist anywhere. It just runs a bunch of logic and it has a lot of code to make your character move around and be able to walk. You can see the difference is here. Everything above this line is a scene component. Everything under this line is an actor component. We're going to be talking about actor components. And I think the best way to show off actor components for people who might not be entirely used to them is making a generalized stats component. Because in a lot of games, a lot of your characters are going to need to have health and mana and stamina and like maybe money. And a lot of people might go in and start making variables here for HP and just like make that a float and then make one for MP and so on and so forth. But then you get to a different character and you need to make those all over again. You have a bunch of functions that decrease or increase your HP and your MP and all that kind of good stuff. You should make all that logic in one centralized place that you can then put into all of your different actors. The upside for components as well is that you can put components with like quite intense logic on them if need be on individual instances of things in the world. So everything here, these are just static mesh actors, right? They don't really have any logic to themselves, but we can add specific components to a specific instance. So suddenly we can make this thing have HP. There's no class for it, there's no blueprint for it, but it will have functional, logical health. So let's make that stats component, right? We can just go into a blueprint class and it's one of the common types here. It is the actor component and we'll call this something like stats component. And if we open it up, we'll see a familiar begin play and event tick. There's no on begin overlap like there might be in your actor because this thing doesn't exist in the world. So it is not possible to overlap with it. There's also two functions to override here, physics tick and end play. Again, this is fairly similar to actors. But the difference is that this is an object that will exist inside other actors. So let's make those variables in here. Let's make our health. And ideally, you would also maybe like have a max health, and that could be put into a struct for like better organization and all that kind of stuff. But for now, let's just make them floats, also add mana, and then like add stamina as well. For now, let's just leave it at that and go back into our third-person character and add in that stats component into here. And you will note that we have the health, mana, and stamina default value fields right over here. Now, I do want to warn you that if I go into like this static mesh over here, I can add a stats component, obviously, because that's what components do, but we won't have those values available for us right here. And that is because, of course, they are not exposed. So they will actually show up in your like default view in the blueprint editor. They won't show up in anything that you add in the world, unless you expose them with this little like eyeball icon thing. So now that we've done that, we can see if I go into the stats component here, I can give this thing like 100 health or something like that. But how do we now influence this? Because we can't write any logic on like this static mesh actor, because again, it's not a class, it doesn't have any logic of its own. So how can we influence that HP value on this? Well, Unreal has a built-in damage system, so it has things like any damage as an event, and then it also has an apply damage. Effectively, this is an interface where you can just apply damage indiscriminately to any type of actor. You might think, oh, so we can make like the stats component, and then we can set the health to health minus damage. And I'm going to stop you right there, because now we're still hard coding the functionality for this inside the actual blueprint for the third person character, instead of doing as much as possible in the stats components. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go into the stats component, and on begin play, we'll get the owner of this component. So it'll be the actor that this component exists on. And since we now have a reference to the actor, we can bind to any event that that actor has access to. So we can bind something to the event damage. So whenever that actor gets damaged, we can now run code on this component. So we can bind to any damage. And if we do that on begin play, we pull off of this and make a custom event. It makes a custom event automatically with all of the relevant inputs that we need. We're not going to use tick actually, so let's delete that. And now what we can do is we can take our health and also get a setting node for our health, and we can make our health, our current health, minus the damage that we take in. And if the output of that is less than or equal to 0, we can add a branching node for this. We will just simply, once again, get owner, and we will destroy that actor. So now we have a component that will be able to keep track of the damage that its actor gets given in, and actually destroy the actor itself automatically once its health reaches 0. Now, there is a lot more customizability to be done with this. You can use a blueprint interface instead to kill the actor, to run its own kill actor code, to maybe like do things like drop experience or drop items, all that kind of stuff. Very expandable. But this component can now effectively exist on anything. So this character itself has this component, but again, this thing has the stats component too. And let's add it to this ramp as well, because why not? Let's add a stats component here, and maybe give this one only 50 health. And back in the third person character, I'm just going to add a quick debug key for, I don't know, F. And whenever we press this, what I want to do is I want to sphere overlap actors. We're going to get the actor location for the center position of the sphere. I'm going to trace within 500 units. The object types will be an array. World static is usually for things like these static meshes. That's pretty good. But if you're going to do this for like a damage system, you're probably going to want to also like trace on pawns. And then for the actors to ignore, we'll make an array and just add a reference to self, so we don't damage ourselves. And then we get the out actors, which is an array, which we can loop over. So now for each one of the actors that we find, what we'll do is we will use the built-in Unreal Engine apply damage. And let's just apply like 25 damage to everything that we find. And we're going to ignore the instigator and the damage causer and the damage type and all that kind of stuff for the time being. So now, again, keep in mind that these actors that I added these stats components to don't have any logic of their own. Everything is being done through these stats components. So if I go over here and I press the F key 4 times, you can see it disappears because it had that component keeping track of its health. And after the health has been entirely depleted, it just deleted the actor. And if I go over here, I'll only need to press it twice because it had less HP. Now let's actually give these all a default value of 100. Because it'll be nice to just have that as a default value whenever we add this. And in much the same way, we can add a bunch of functions to this component as well. So let's maybe do a function where we, so we'll get an input here for amount to check or something like that, which will be a float. Then all we need to do is get a reference to our mana here. And we need to check whether or not it is greater or equal to the amount to check. And we'll put that into a return node. We'll call that has amount for the output or something. For simple functions like this, that take in a value and put out another value, you might want to call that as a pure node. The pure nodes will be these little green nodes, and they don't have execution pins, so they get run whenever anything that they're plugged into reaches execution. So if I plug this into like 5 different places, it's going to get called at every opportunity when like this value is requested of it. So that way you always get the most up-to-date new information. It's a little side tangent about pure nodes. And then maybe also make something like update stamina. Maybe if we want to make something like a run function in our game, we can do that on this, but it's also now reusable for other stuff. So for stamina, what we can do is we can set our stamina to our stamina minus the input. So this will be, let's call this cost or something like that. Then we can check whether or not this is now less than or equal to 0. Because if it is, what we're going to do is we're going to like manually set this to be exactly 0. If you have somewhat more intelligent like structs and that kind of stuff, specifically if you're also going to be working with C++, you can do some much more intelligent structs. You can build in some clamping to these statistics, but for now we're just using these simple floats, so this is the way that we're going to be doing it. But then we also add a return node to this function, and this is has 0 stamina, which is going to be a bool. So this way we use up some stamina, and then we get a value out that tells us whether or not our stamina is now used up. So that's going to be true for this. And you can have multiple return nodes. You should have multiple return nodes in a lot of functions, actually, with different output values. So if this is true, oh, and I messed this up, this should definitely be the other way around. And that's entirely my bad. So if this is true, and our stamina is now less than or equal to 0, we're going to set this value to being 0, and tell whatever is calling this that, hey, our stamina just became 0. If you care about that, here you have a value to deal with, do your thing. But otherwise, we just pass through that, hey, stamina's not 0 yet, keep doing what you're doing. So opening up my own character from the game that I'm working on at the moment, you can see this is a character, but it has a bunch of components here. These are all scene components for its dash particles, which is just particles that happen when he does like a dashing ability. It has a widget that is as of yet unnamed. It has specific particles for when he's healing himself. He has some particles for when he does a mid-air recovery. All these are scene components because they exist in the world, and they, especially the particles, need to be rendered. But then we also have things like this ability system component, which is part of the gameplay ability system. And I have an AI stimulation source, which is something that Unreal itself also provides to hook into AI perception. And then I have my own custom-made inventory components, which, if you want to make something similar, there's an entire like 2 playlists on this channel going over how to build an inventory system, and a separate inventory component for some usable item slots that I have. And all things considered, this is still a fairly small actor as far as different components go. You can very much end up with a very long list, especially of actor components, that all have like their own little bit of logic, and then the class itself, everything that you see over here, instead of just hard-coding everything inside the class itself can function as a way to make the components communicate with each other. Of course, any code and any logic that is very specific to this very specific type of actor, you're fine to just make that into code that exists solely on the actor itself. But maybe think, when you're developing, is this code going to be reusable in any other way? If so, maybe put it on an actor component and let it exist there, and just use your class to direct to how it should interact with the rest of your components. And a very big thank you to all of my Patreons. You can see them on screen right now. If you want to help out supporting the channel, there's a link down below in the description to the Patreon page. A huge thank you to my Cave Digger tier supporters, Sir J. Thomas,